Welcome to Mick and the Psychic, where we leave no stone unturned as we explore all things outside the apparent physical realm.
There is no intent to teach or make you believe or disbelieve anything. It is just a safe space to listen and explore with us.
So for this next episode, you have permission to open your heart and mind as you join myself and Xavier on this deep dive into the unknown.
Stop banging on doors that don't open. Maybe not your door. So if things, because I feel like being in flow, things will just work. Because universe, I feel like it always has your back, right?
It's us.
Hey.
Mick and the Psychic, so exciting. I have been waiting to get you alone for a while.
I'm sorry we're not in the same room. Michael.
Because, not like that.
Oh.
Not like that. We've talked about this. But because I wanted to, here we go. There's going to be like a scandal, and our Patreons are going to start stories again. No. Because I wanted to talk to you about a bit of a topic about hanging around the earth between lives, because some things have come up with some clients, and I'm like, oh, this is really interesting, like under hypnosis. And as I thought we'd start this podcast at exactly 3:33,
yes,
everything just shut down. And we're laughing because you were wondering, what is this topic? And the topic ended up being when the universe tells you to fuck off.
Yep. It sounds more fitting today. It's like, this took like 3 hours and 33 minutes to start. No,
just to start, just to get started.
Because everything kept going wrong. And it's like, great discussion, because it comes up like a lot with my clients. I don't know if it happens in life in general, but you think, is everything a sign when the universe is like if things aren't working? Is that the universe saying maybe that's not the topic we're supposed to talk about today? Because everything was playing up and it not working for us when we're trying to do it. And then it's like, wow, okay, maybe we should be doing about this, stopping us in our tracks, or it's the difference between being in flow, maybe, I guess. What do you like? And when things, so what I usually tell my clients, and you might have a different opinion on this, and lots of people might have a different opinion.
Probably. Here we go. What have you got to say about it? No.
What am I going to say? It's like a different mentality. Maybe because we're more laid back in Australia. I don't know, but something along the lines of stop banging on doors that don't open. Maybe not your door. So if things, because I feel like being in flow, things will just work. Because universe, I feel like it always has your back, right? And sometimes I think, but things aren't working, and I'm stressed, and I tried to buy this house, or I tried to rent this place, or I tried for this job and I didn't get it. So you feel like the universe is like pissed at you, or you you're just whatever, I've done something to deserve this, I'm just having bad luck, whatever it is. But maybe they're telling you to fuck off and go elsewhere when you don't get the house that you wanted or the job that you wanted, because it has your back and it's pointing you in a different direction. So is that maybe what it is, or is it just thinking everything's a sign and we just try something and it's a little bit too hard, and you think, oh no, the universe mustn't want me to do it, I'll just give up? It's like, I don't know. How much is
it? The difference between those two things is how honest you are with yourself. I think.
Yep. So it wouldn't. Yeah. Okay. So maybe it wouldn't apply for everybody depending on where they're at, but then they're not going to know. So what? Like, can we just have a rule of thumb, please? Like, universe, tell us what the rule is. If we see consecutive numbers, like 333 at the time.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Be good confirmation. Holy crap. Yeah. Doesn't have to be 111, but like, was that like a bigger confirmation that maybe it's a different topic to talk about? It wasn't the right time. Maybe the topic we were going to talk about on Earth Between Lives, maybe that's better with, there's a particular person we're going to get on the show that's perfect for that. So we shouldn't talk about it by ourselves. And so then they're going to be here soon. Are you writing that down?
I'm writing that down now. Find a guest for show. No.
Yeah, that would be good. We need guests for show. Yes, we've got some coming up, but yeah, this is just us today. This is fun.
This is fun. And we often get a lot of views as well, which is pretty funny. Probably because people love to watch a train wreck. But it's a nudge, isn't it? It's a nudge.
Is it?
It's this good clickbait with the when the universe tells you to fuck off. I think
Yes, thank
we'll
you for
put that in
clicking
somehow.
and listening to
Good
us.
clickbait. But I wonder if it is more a nudge and how in tune you are to be able to be adaptive to where things are nudging. One thing I find,
Mm.
I have a problem. I have a lot of problems, but I have a problem with
Got nine problems.
one of the problems that I have is with the term "the universe has your back," and not that I think it's not that I think it's wrong. I don't think you're wrong in saying it, but I think there's something a bit deeper to it, and maybe a little bit more subtle than we give it credit for. Because the universe having your back might be putting you in a wheelchair, or someone close to you dying of cancer, or do you know what I mean? So I think when we think the universe has got your back, they think, oh, well, only good things are going to happen and bad things aren't going to happen. It's like, well, what you perceive as a very bad thing might need to happen, because for us on this earth, as a person, someone close to us dying is quite catastrophic. For our higher self that is eternal, that's like eating chocolate cake or carrot cake. So we have to be careful what we ask for when we want the universe to have our back, because the universe might have some very different, I have a completely different perspective than you as a person on this earth.
That's right. And is the universe like just us, or knowing what our path is that we chose, or what our main lessons are to learn from? So if we're going the wrong way for what we first signed up for, and our higher self is kind of like going, or the universe or whatever it is going, no, you're not supposed to do that job. You're not supposed to go out with that person or whatever, like wrong way, go back. They try to chuck obstacles in your way to deter you. You still have free will. So you're still choosing to keep knocking on the damn door that won't open, or trying over and over the same kind of relationships that you think you want, or whatever it is, and it doesn't work out repeatedly, and you're not listening. You don't figure it out because you haven't kind of like, I don't know, spoken to the psychic or the hypnotherapist. They went, that's not how it works, mate. If something's working, you're supposed to try something different. The universe is trying to steer you. Like the classic example that I hear so often, and I reckon anyone listening is going to go, oh my God, that's happened to me. When you're overdoing it as a people pleaser, or in a job, or you're working like really long hours, and you don't like your job, for example, right? That's the common one. Hate the job. And they're ahhing about it, and they've been thinking they're not really happy. And then it gets worse. Like a new boss comes in, or it gets all restructured and it just goes to shit, and you hate it. And you're like, oh my God, this sucks. Or this person comes in and they're a real jerk and they pick on every, and you're like, you just hate going even there even more. It's like, oh my God, it's just getting worse there. And then it just keeps snowballing. You get RSI in your wrist from using them, and you're like, oh my God, like something else happens. And things just keep happening, and then you get sick and you got to take some days off. But then you're not listening, and you're not changing your job. You're not even looking for one. You know how many times clients
just waiting for it to get better,
hate their job, and
by itself.
what are you doing about it? Or what are you looking for another job? I've been doing this for 20 years. What do you mean looking for another job? It'll just fix itself. Anyway, so they're not doing anything about it. And then something bad happens where they get laid off because the universe, maybe it's because the universe is like, you're not listening, so we're going to get you fired. Or they really injure themselves and they have to take work cover. For example, the universe isn't punishing you, I believe, when they do that, when it does that, or that just happens, or whatever, however it works. It's got your back in, like you said, but in a backwards kind of way that you might feel is like crappy.
Not the way you humanly think. That's the problem.
It's inconvenient, and you got to figure stuff out, and you got to learn and grow, and you got to apply for jobs, and it's all sucks. But hey, like perhaps it's leading you somewhere better because you weren't listening. You had to slow down because you injured yourself, and you weren't slowing down. Now you're on your butt doing your taxes and catching up on paperwork and spending time with your kids and doing that blog you said you'd always do because you've got time now.
Or you've found some wisdom through that process. I always think, with people that do some bad stuff and end up in prison, it's like, maybe part of that's meant to happen too. Maybe the going to prison bit is meant to happen to find a certain information. I personally find it hard to believe, not saying that's wrong, I personally find it hard to believe that there is a path set out at the start. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities, and then maybe some opportunities are so important that along the way we get nudges towards that. And perhaps some of these are nudges towards it, and we might see it as quite negative and bad at the time. But maybe if we tune in from a different perspective, not from you, the person having something bad happening to you, and you look at the whole thing as from a perspective of, well, what would it be like if I was timeless and I could, if I wanted to, come back as many times as possible? Is what's happening now a bad thing, or is what's happening now an experience?
Yeah.
And so if we're really, really honest with ourselves, even the most horrific moments in our life are opportunities to experience.
Yeah, I agree with the idea that we don't have a set path that we're supposed to be on, like you have to do this. I think it's experiences we choose, and however we get there. Like it doesn't matter what job you end up doing or how many kids you have, whatever it is. It's just the experiences you want to learn along the way. You can manifest that and make that happen however you feel guided to. It just might see you to experiences of feelings, and it's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it. Like, did you handle it the way you planned? Or you're supposed to handle it badly so you do experience jail? I don't know. We love interviewing experts from different fields about all things outside the apparent physical realm.
And the one constant is these phenomena are transmitted through energy.
So we sought out and teamed up with Subtle Energy Science
to bring you, our listeners,
energetic encoded technology you can use on your phone, laptop, computer, or tablet,
turning your device into a powerful personal quantum energy tool. Now, we're not the creators, or are we qualified enough to explain it at all, but there is a mind-blowing number of scientific studies available on their website.
We get to try their range ourselves so we can give an honest review. And until the end of April, we've got 20% off The Mystic with promo code MATP-861.
And I love using The Mystic. I love it more than anything else. And I notice it really helps if you want to open up your heart or tune in to a deeper awareness.
Now, back to the show. Actually, haven't visited a life where I've been to jail. I'm going to check that out and see if I've had one, surely, because we've got to try everything.
I had to have, surely, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't have to try. We don't have to try everything though, and I only say that.
Well, some believe we do everything, but we don't know. Like
anecdotally, like people that have had like no past lives. It's their first one here, and they're finishing here, like they're just doing it once. So I mean, if that happens, then I don't think it means that everyone has to experience everything. I've had people that have experienced past lives as a cat. So do we have to be like every single animal as well?
Yeah, I don't think every animal, just like in the same like intelligence level. Yeah, like something like that. Like,
so I could never be a cat. I'm probably going to be a dog or a guinea pig.
You have been, you mean? You don't go backwards from what I've learned and seen myself and read. But you don't go back to being an animal, because I would hope that you're smarter now than what the mentality of.
I think I was already smart from that higher self level. I think I already knew everything anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer. I don't
might not be right either. Yeah, it's like,
I don't know why we come back, and I don't even know why we come in the first place.
Oh yeah, it's like
I don't know.
I wish I knew what the hell the end goal was. Just come here, learn everything, and then
I don't think there's an end goal.
Why?
No, but I don't think there is an end goal.
It just feels like a cheeky game, and they're just like looking down, going like.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
cruel if you think about it.
Well, it's an experience. It's a way to experience. I mean, if we are a certain source that is everything and encompasses everything, like the concept of yoga. If yoga is everything. If you are everything, how can you experience anything? You have to break out and experience. So it's potentially just everything breaking out. And a lot believe or subscribe to the fact that there is no cause for everything, and that the causes are made once it's already split off. So the cause of everything and cause and effect isn't real cause and effect of any kind of major plan. It's just whatever plans these entities that have come off it have decided is what's going to happen. So even those quests aren't necessarily important because that's just come from them anyway.
Yep.
So like it's interesting. Like, so you look at the purpose of maybe coming down on Earth. If there's multiple dimensions and multiple forms of ourselves experiencing multiple versions of this existence, then what would it matter anyway?
Yep. That's like makes people's brains go, now my hip, it hurts and I don't know how to think about life anymore.
But that doesn't mean it's, yeah, which is interesting, but it also shows how significant each life is, because this life that you're experiencing right now takes a lot of energy to create, and it only happens once.
Yes, like I always giggle when someone says you only live once, and I'm like, in this life, yes.
Who only lives once?
Yeah, like,
because
do we though? But hey,
Xavier only lives once.
Exactly.
But whoever Xavier is laughs at that.
Or is there 10 of me in other dimensions?
Yeah.
Feel the same.
but the same.
But I don't know that. I mean, I'm experiencing it. So yeah, the same. You only live once to make the most of it.
That's it. But that's a much better saying you only live once than you only live once in each dimension at one time across, multiple realities. It's like, oh, that's a really shit acronym. So you only live once. It's close enough.
But I always giggle when I see that saying, and I'm like, okay, maybe. But yeah, well, the one we know about, like,
yes and no.
Yes, we do know some of us know some of our past lives and stuff, but we're not in the way where it's like it feels like, it gets, when you visit them, you usually should get released and cleared. So yeah, it just doesn't feel relevant anymore. It doesn't matter. It's not who you are. It's just an experience.
No. If you're still holding something, you may need to clear it. Or
it shouldn't be.
if you don't have as much, it's interesting. I had one person say that they wanted to revisit a past life to get the power that they had in that past life in this current life. And so for me, my initial response was, that's not how this works. But of course, I don't know that at all, do I? So I'm thinking in my head, that's not really how it works. And I'm like, well, we can visit a past life, whatever. And they actually did, because they knew deep down there was something. And so that came through.
Awesome.
And they had a lot of belief in themselves and what they needed in this current life. And then I was like, maybe that is how it does work, in that they revisited and re-experienced what it was like in this life that they thought they had a gut feeling that was them. Could have been their imagination. It was pretty convincing, and I see a lot, so it was pretty convincing. So let's just presume for this case that they did actually experience this as a past life, not as an imagination to, I don't know.
You can tell the difference when you're doing it with somebody.
Normally, yeah. But let's just presume for this, that in experiencing that life where they had these, like they were spiritual powers, right? Where they had these spiritual powers, they felt what it was like to have these spiritual powers, and they felt the energy of that person. And they took that on board with them in this current life. So I guess that technically it didn't gift them, I don't think, a whole lot of knowledge that they learnt knowledge-wise, but the stuff that was beyond knowledge.
Yeah. Well, it could have been their subconscious. Like, it's there when they want to tap into it and the time is right. Because that's what, like, I learned how to do past life healing and release. I always got told to heal and clear negative or anything that would be inhibiting them in this life from moving, and in future lives from moving forward. And that's what I say. But then I got guided to just add in, and if there's any great knowledge or wisdom or anything helpful or wonderful experiences from that life,
I've heard you say that.
Then we integrate.
That's really nice.
To you now. And I don't think I think I channeled that. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure I channeled that.
Quote you from
quote you from. No, I taught you that. Like, I'm pretty sure I just
quote you from Zavo the Great. No, I've quoted Zavo the Great that lived in, I don't know, 240
I add that
AD.
in anyway. So it's funny that you said that's not how it works, because I'm like, well, I just got guided to do that. Now I always do it.
Yeah.
And I say into the subconscious so they can bring it forward to the conscious self whenever they feel the need to in this life and in future lives. So
Mhm.
it's like done now, and then they don't have to do it again in another life. It's all been done. So yes, because sometimes they've been, and I don't. Sometimes there are lives that you think, I don't know what positive could come from that, but even in a life where they've been a thief and stuff like that, man, there's cunning there, there's wittiness, there's boldness, there's all these great talents. Doesn't mean you're going to be a thief again, but there's smarts there that you can bring in, and it could be there, and they might need it, because I figure they wouldn't be visiting the life if it didn't need healing, clearing, and then also the opposite, bringing in some great knowledge and experience and life lessons. Because is that why we keep coming back, and that life can
Yeah.
need to be clear because we're repeating some patterns?
Didn't get the wisdom out of it.
Yeah, maybe the wisdom needs to come too, not just clearing the crap that you don't want to do again. Might be more to it. So I think that's important.
It's interesting. Makes me think of
Yeah.
the will of karma, right? This whole karmic.
Did you say the wheel of karma or the will?
Oh, lovely. Let's say wheel, because that sounds so much better. I did say will.
Yeah, I thought.
Well, no, I am saying the will of karma, because
Yes.
where is this will to continue to come from? Because it doesn't come back from us that's in the life.
We don't know. Yeah. what the will is.
But so who is that wants to keep coming and learning these lessons, and is that even needed? Because I feel like those that come off that karmic cycle have transcended the need to continue to come back, and it doesn't mean that you've necessarily like ticked off all the boxes that you had in your when I say head, it's not probably it's not a form, so it doesn't have a head, but in the mind of whatever that entity is, that higher self, it hasn't ticked off all of those boxes, but perhaps it's come to a realization that
They just decide they're
this
done.
karmic cycle, it's done.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because like we've heard or learned before, like I suppose the different people have written about it, that it's free will. Like you don't get forced to come here. It's up to you. My husband always jokes that he's definitely not coming back.
He hates it here. It's like,
He's
come on,
done.
man.
And so we joke about him, like, oh no, you're creating some karma there. You haven't learned that, or you're a bit snippy at that person. Maybe you have to come back again and learn to be a bit more tolerant. And he's like, no, babe. So I wonder if people that are so adamant in the physical body, I always joke that, yeah, but when you get there, you're going to remember everything in the bigger picture and realize that maybe you want to come back. Like, no, I won't. I have a stern talking to. To all the whoever tells me that it's a good idea, I'm going to tell them to get stuffed. But there's heaps of people that think like that, like, I'm done. So I wonder if when they consciously make the decision, it's going back and they're like, I'm definitely not coming back, please. Like,
I don't know.
they forget everything and they're just pure bliss and people think it's awesome and come back again. Is that what?
I reckon don't trust anything a human says, because I think we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
because we're just coming from this perspective.
Yeah.
So
you go back home
with great respect,
all your lives, like
with great respect, those people that do say that, I take it with a grain of salt, because I don't think they know what they're talking about. Just as much as I don't know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Okay, so take what I say with a grain of salt as well.
Like, no,
this is all coming from my
back.
Yeah.
If it helps you sleep better or not, you get to choose.
This is all coming from my filter as well, right? So
I can't promise you can't come and haunt me when you do go home and say, you said I'm not coming back.
I hope people can do that. But anyway, that's because that kind of makes it fun. But I do wonder how much life, where I feel like so many of us feel like we are convinced that we are the doers in this life. And particularly when you practice manifestation, and I mean, you look at it from a subtle, creative way of manifestation, so it probably makes it even harder to differentiate whether or not you're a doer or not.
Yep.
I feel the more and more I learn in life, the more that life is happening to us, and where we struggle in life is where we try and take the reins. And this is coming back to where this topic started, by the way. When we try and take the reins, when we try and take the reins, life can be so difficult and so hard. And we try and explain why, someone has passed away or something happened, and it's fighting against the flow. And when we get these bumps by, even saying the universe, like, I mean, you talk to yeah, you talk to an astrologer, and it's like, well, the universe is like everything. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
talking about space? Are you talking about
Exactly. What
galaxies and
God,
planets, or are you
God,
talking about
universe.
everything that is, or the source?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where the bump coming from, and I don't think it's a thing. I think it just is causeless.
Mm.
When you get a bump in a direction, it's not so much that fighting. You can fight the bump, or you can go with the bump. And one
It's-
is going to be a little bit more flowy because you're not fighting against the bump, but scary because you have to trust that you're not the doer and
Yeah.
you're just going to act based on what's in front of you, where you bump to.
That's right. And does it feel more in flow if something doesn't work and you go, okay, right, like let's try this instead and be calm about it? Do you feel more in flow when you, like I said before, life isn't what happens to you, it's how you handle it. So it's how you handle it creating the flow. Because if you're not happy with the outcome and you're getting all stressed and angry and you're worrying and
You're creating a
wasting
different
your
outcome.
day, yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely believe in, and personally believe in, like a law of attraction. So you're attracting what you put out. If you're thinking about negative stuff and you're worrying and you're stressed, you're going to attract more of the same back to you. So
Yeah.
if you're okay and in flow and you feel like, okay, well, shit happens. What am I going to do about it? What can I do about it now? Can I do this? Can I do that? No. Okay, that has to wait. Do I waste my day being angry at those things I can't fix right now, or just go about my day and deal with that when I can, or do my baby step to solve the problem
Which ironically is the only thing you have control over.
That's right. It's what
It's actually the only thing you can
Yeah.
control
that flow.
is how you react now, not even how you react in the future or how you reacted in the past. It's literally in this current moment.
Yeah.
What can I control? And basically it's how much awareness you put into the moment. You know, that's
Yeah.
just awareness, really.
We can only be better now than we were yesterday. Like, and it's also about forgiving old you, which every second is old you, for maybe
Yeah.
something thought and said or did, and you thought I could have done that better. But forgive
Yeah.
yourself. Just go, I'm always learning. You just want to be better than the person you were yesterday. Like, just if you're always trying to maybe move forward and see what you could do better to. Oh, so it popped in my head is if you want your life to change, you need to do something different.
Mm.
You know, people just go about doing the same thing, like they're complaining about something, but they're reacting to it the same way or saying the same things about it. So, like, wondering why it stays the same. Like something else you could do or think or say or try to make it different instead of just waiting for something to happen if you're not doing anything. And it's just not just thinking about it differently, it's actually doing something different, like complaining about your job, like I was talking about before. What are you doing about it?
And this is amazing because this is where I think courage comes in, because it is
Yeah.
a very courageous thing for you to do, to have to change what you're doing, and have to kind of loosen the grip and allow whatever to happen, particularly if some of those things have been, as a personal, from a personal perspective, bad or horrific or worst case scenario. You've got to let go of it and somehow trust, and that takes a lot of courage. And it was interesting. I do love the saying, and I do subscribe to this, is around the idea of courage. And to have courage in something, courage is based on your conviction of the outcome. So if you worried that you are not courageous enough, don't look at your courage, look at your conviction.
Love that.
Like, what are you convinced is going to happen? So that's where the trust is, that if I do let go of the reins and I do open up a bit and I am in flow, whatever's going to happen, for better or for worse, is exactly what needs to be. And I'm no longer fight it. I'm going to embrace it. If your conviction is that the universe has my back, whatever that means to you, and no matter what happens, the universe has my back. If your conviction is strong in that, you'd be surprised at how much courage you actually have to make the changes you need.
And the opposite. If you're convinced that the universe keeps telling you to get fucked.
Where's the courage?
Where's the courage? And yeah, you're all victim mentality, I guess that would be like,
Close up. Yeah.
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 Shrugging, I was like feeling small. It's like yeah, it's like, yeah, you're pushing away or deflecting so much positive that could happen to you.
Yeah.
You're not going to be looking for it because you're not looking for it. Like, yeah, you got your
You're
blinkers on,
limiting
like
your you're
tunnel
limiting
vision,
your
whatever you wanna call it.
opportunities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
going to miss it because you're too busy wallowing in self-pity.
Or wanting that one thing
Yeah,
and
because
then
that's a
missing the
good tip.
opportunity of so much
Right.
else.
Sometimes we micromanage what we're trying to happen, and you just think,
Want it so much.
for
Yeah.
example, you might want more money, and you're just like, I need
Yeah.
more clients.
Yeah.
I need more money.
Yeah.
And it's all you're obsessing about. But what if there was other ways to bring you money that you hadn't thought of? Like, you're not even opening your mind to it because you're only focused on getting more clients for this one thing. There could be, I don't know, passive incomes or some other cool thing you could do that. Or
And
someone
if the universe has you back,
or
it's going to keep bumping you. And here's the thing with money, like we focus a lot, and when I say we, I mean everyone really focuses a lot on, okay, if I have money, I'll then be comfortable and then I can do. And what the universe is probably trying to bump you towards is, what if you didn't need money? Not that you had lots of money,
Yeah.
you just would no longer needed money.
Yep.
And that's hard for us to accept. Where it's just like, oh, because
Yeah.
imagine you're happy without your new Mercedes, or imagine you're happy without having like a client base of 60 with a waiting list. You know, imagine you're happy with a client base of 12.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it'd be better with 60. So you've done this again, you've put the blinkers on and you've missed the opportunity for where you're really meant to be bumped. And it's amazing how when we let go of the reins and we stop focusing in hard at the opportunities of, there's so much grace out there for what is when you have enough courage to let go of that control bit. Doesn't mean you're not doing anything. You might be busier than you've been in your life, but you're not the doer.
Yep. And I know, like, that's reminding me of, like, we were saying before about jobs, maybe, because I know a lot of people that would watch this podcast or listen to it. Also, a lot of people go off and want to do some kind of maybe spiritual business or maths else, like work for themselves, and they're doing a normal 9-to-5 job for many, many years, and they've had enough. And they keep getting the signs, they hate it, they got a bad back, whatever, and they don't like it, they want to leave. But the courage thing and trusting, as it's saying, that the universe might support them or whatever, like they think they're too scared to leave the job because they don't know if this will work.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to let go of the thing to show the courage to go. But then you think, well, if it's not really successful straight away, how do I feed my family? And how am I going to figure it out? But even if it's not successful right at the start, like, holy crap, me starting as a psychic, definitely slow. Like, as a massage therapist before that, like, it was very slow. It wasn't enough to
you've got to build a client base, and it's really
so
hard.
long. Other people it might take off really quick because you're amazing at marketing. But saying that, it doesn't mean it was the wrong thing for me to do or for other people to do. If you have bumps in the road and you don't make as much as you expected, or it goes crap, and then you have to go back and get another job. What did you learn about yourself from that? Like, there's other pros, like, just because it might not have succeeded the way you thought, how much did you change? Did you at least get rid of that job and then have to go back to work, but you found a much better job later? Like, but you just needed that break in between to figure yourself out and discover yourself and do more at home, or fix a patio. I don't know where that came from.
Or be open, if it's someone, whoever that is, fix a patio.
Learn to
I'm sure that
trust.
came from above. But yeah, being able to learn how to trust and open up is one of those things where you're no longer limited by your own human, I'll call it human person needs and wants, and your own goals of human person needs and wants. And when you let go, you can actually be open to all of the possibilities for you in this whole existence.
Yeah.
And if you can let go of whether or not there's going to be good or bad along the way, and just know that you're following the flow.
Yep.
You no longer have the responsibility over what that future is. You can just go with the flow, and you might find you're just as organized, you're just as busy, you've got that much activity going on. It's just the act of whether or not you're controlling your destiny based on what you want, as to opening up and having courage that the universe has got your back when you follow your heart.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. There you go. That was the episode. Thank you very much,
Love it.
universe, for bumping us to this. Hopefully
That was awesome.
you guys have got something out of it as we did. This is why we started this podcast,
Gosh,
because of these
yeah.
conversations.
And I love because we have some of these conversations, like literally people before we start podcasts or in between or whatever, we talk like this about this big stuff. And it's just interesting to sort of like throw ideas around and because we don't know the answers and we love that because we can't claim that we do. But it's really nice to discuss it and have a think about why things are the way they are. And this is the kind of conversations I love, talking about big stuff, not just how science
Mm,
today. By the way, it's
mm.
outside today. Actually,
It's quite outside.
beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's been quite nice actually here in Melbourne, Australia.
For once.
Yeah, for once. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, X, for your wisdom and guidance.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for another episode. Thanks to our sponsor, Subtle Energy Sciences. Click the link in the show notes to access their full product range of quantum healing technology.
And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. We're so grateful for your contribution to keep this podcast going.
If you'd like to join our Patreon, you can receive bonus full episodes, early release, and monthly readings and meditations.
We love to hear from you, so please comment on our YouTube channel or email us at mickandthepsychic@gmail.com.
I'm a certified hypnotherapist and timeline regression therapist. If you wish to contact me to explore the source of an issue you're facing, just book a session at hearnhypnosis.com and include the promo code MATP for 10% off. You can contact me on Insta and Facebook at hearnhypnosis.
Check out my website at optimisticxavier.com.au if you feel you'd like to connect with me as a psychic medium, spiritual mentor, or intuitive coach. Include the promo code MATP for 10% discount. You can also find me on Insta, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
We look forward to connecting with you again next time as we attempt to leave no stone unturned.
Bye.
All right, cool. I reckon that should be okay.